For more on the Leafs, we're joined by our NHL analysts Craig Button from a spacious hotel room in Detroit and Mike Johnson from a spacious hotel room in Washington. Guys, the Leafs' 3-game win streak is over. John Tavares now with goals in back-to-back games after a 10-game stretch without scoring a goal. Mike, there have been a little bit of concern over the captain's struggles. In your opinion, is he starting to show you he's going to have a big stretch run for this team?
Well, I think, Jay, in this game against the New York Islanders, there were a lot of positive signs for John Tavares. And doing the things that he does well, he was all over that against the New York Islanders. Getting to the front of the net, strong hands, generating shots in tight, 20-plus minutes, 6 shots on net. We know he had the 2 points. And in the last month, it looked like his legs were getting away from him. He just wasn't getting to the spots that he needs to get to when the puck arrives to be effective. And maybe he just needed a week away, some rest, some relaxation, let the body heal a little bit, let the mind get rested, because he came back and he played inspired in that game against the Islanders. This is the guy the Toronto Maple Leafs need down the stretch. It can't just be Matthews, Marner, Nylander. John Tavares has to help contribute and drive the offense on the power play as well as up 5-on-5, and he hasn't done that for about a month. But against the Islanders, now going 2 straight games, he was very, very good, Craig. This is the guy, this is the play the Toronto Maple Leafs need down the stretch.
Yeah, I totally agree with you, Mike. And I'm just a little bit older than John, and I know what a week off in Cabo, Mexico did for me. And you look at John Tavares and the way he plays, he gives 100% all the time, and he gives the best of himself. And when you run out of a little bit of the juice in your legs, you're not going to get to those spots. So I think that in this game, he was really strong in so many of those areas you just pointed out. But maybe where the Leafs have to really look is just managing his time, not practicing as much, maybe even giving him the odd game off, back-to-backs, just to make sure that he can stay fresh, because they need a fresh John Tavares. And a fresh John Tavares will alleviate some of that pressure off of Matthews and Marner and Nylander. And certainly it goes without saying that they need a fresh and rejuvenated and really good, solid John Tavares to advance come playoff time.
Guys, the trade deadline just over a month away. Leafs have been inconsistent this season. We know that. They are in a wild card spot. Craig, if you're Brad Treliving, GM of the team, in case you didn't know, what is your strategy? Are you a buyer? Are you a seller? Or as some people feel might be the best strategy, are you just standing pat?
I think you're always looking as a manager to always try to strengthen your team in some way, shape, or form. But in the areas that the Toronto Maple Leafs need, defenders, I say 2, not just 1, but that would be really greedy. I think the price would be too high. You look at where they're at cap-wise, and certainly if you want to go and get 10, if you want to go and consider getting Hanifin, not only do you got to create cap space, but the price is going to be high. It's Easton Cowan. It's a first-round draft pick. It's potentially Fraser Minton, some combination of that. But that's what the price is going to be. And with a lot of salary coming off the cap this summer, and certainly a lot more room with the cap going up next year, there might be better opportunities to really take that significant move to try to improve this team. You're always trying to strengthen it. You're always trying to get the team to a point. But I think the price to do it in a really big way is just too much. So I'd be at the margins if I were Brad Treliving.
Craig, I don't live on the margins. I can't let another year go by and do nothing. They have the rarest of things for the Toronto Maple Leafs. They have the cap space that John Klingberg's departure has left them. They'd have to send a whole bunch of guys down to the minors, but they could clear out $3-4 million pretty easily. Yes, I understand the assets required to go get a pretty good player that could play in your top 4, someone who could pair with Jake McCabe consistently, would be steep. And I don't want to give up my top prospects. I don't want to give up my first-round pick. Maybe I make some trades to get a second-round pick to help make that trade happen. But even if it's not one of the biggest fish, even if it's not Hanifin, even if it's not Tanev, I am going to get a defenseman before trade deadline time. I don't care if he's not as good as those guys. I'd prefer that he would be. But even if he's not, he would be an upgrade on what they have available, either that's playing there now or depth down the road. I get that it's not the ideal year, the way they played, the cap situation, all of that. But I can't just do nothing when you have that hole on your second pair. I know Simon Benoit's done an admirable job filling it, Jay, but I would be busy because it's that time of year for the Toronto Maple Leafs. They have to try to go for it every single year responsibly, but you got to go do something.
Viewers, I know you enjoyed that segment, but here's a special treat for you. Both of these guys will be back later in the show to talk more about the trade deadline.